Should we talk about zones?
Aye, go for it.
Now, I know you might be thinking, oh, what a boring segment. You want to talk about zones. I'm not really going to talk about zones. Just a few things that have set in now that we've went through a few interviews and it's like settled in. They've said that this is one of the largest contents they've ever delivered.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah, because I think about Northrend and Outland and their zone count.
Yeah.
And I remember...
I mean, Kaldor, Eastern Kingdom's like...
It's pretty big. Actually, flip off my screen and I'm going to see if I can find a video. Zone size, wow. Because I remember a long time ago, right? I had this method. Yeah, it was this method of basically you extract the mini-maps and stuff, and then you come up with like a pixel is this many yards.
Yeah.
Because you measure it in-game. This would probably take ages to find. But anyway, the point is, their claim is something that very much could be validated with objective means.
Yeah, but then obviously, you know, maybe they're talking about experientially the biggest. Maybe the exploration of them is so much bigger and more important. Because obviously Desolus was just an empty hole, so what's the point? That was just, you know, you can just make a big zone, but put nothing in it.
Fucking, I found the video, man. Oh, I remember this.
I remember watching you actually work on this.
See this intro? This intro was based off the intro to the Steve Colbert show.
Yeah.
I like to say Colbert because it probably rustled people. By the way, I don't watch any American talk shows. No. I just like the tilt shift effect, and the Colbert show had a pretty cool little tilt shift effect. Oh my god, this is in my days of being a weird green screen corner boy.
Yep.
Who knows? I mean, I'm a corner boy right now. Hey, look, this is like one of those, just that, you know, it's, I'm...
There we go.
It's like I'm Asmongold, and there I'm reacting to myself, and... there we go. We've done the meta.
Close enough for a good screenshot to get a comparison of the two.
Oh, indeed. Oh, man, it was so fun. I had a whole workflow where... Do you remember the Star Wars Battlefront games? And their whole, the map loading screen of, like, it's in the planet, and then it zooms in. Yeah. I basically had a way where I could pull the camera from a globe that I made in After Effects of Azeroth through the clouds in here and then into a zone. Yeah. And I never fucking did anything with it. And the computer that I did that on, where the files are, currently has a dead stick of RAM. So, yes, my explanation of pixels.
Yeah.
Zoom on ahead. Yeah, because I forgot what it was. I think there was like some talk of this, and then I hopped in, and there was a few videos I did like this, like one of the size of Azeroth, and it was just really cool. There was a bunch of people in the community that were really just interested in doing this. So, okay. How many million pixels are we dealing with?
Well, it's 31 mil in Kaldor. What have we got for...
Man, I really could have just put a graph in this to help myself, couldn't I?
Yeah. Well, you weren't thinking about 4 years later.
Yeah. Yeah, doing a 4 years later React bit of content.
Did you know Legion was almost 6 years ago?
Matt, I feel very ancient.
I think Cataclysm was, 14 years ago? No, not 14. 12.
So...
Yeah, it's hard to make people feel old.
We've got... Total size of WoD, 15 million. MOP, 11 million.
WoD is bigger than MOP, oh my god.
Legion, about the same size as MOP.
Doesn't include Argus, though, does it? It does, yeah,
it does, nice. including Argus. Wrath. Man, Wrath was big.
Chunky, yeah.
Look at that, 17 million pixels. That's crazy. You know, I'm thinking of a graph. Maybe it was another video with the same methodology, but this is going over the OP from MMO Champion. TBC 17 million. So that's what's really interesting, right? We see these two humongous continents. Of course, this is a time where there's so much less detail in the zones, so building a larger zone was like way more doable. Yeah, so this took it through to WoD. So where we'd settled on was like 11 and a bit, then 15.5 million for WoD. Did I then do after? What was Kulturas? So Kulturas, right, Zandalar was 7.25 million, and Kulturas was 6.8 million.
So about just over 15 mil then, right?
Yeah, so actually, it was a big expansion, dude.
And then Azutara and Mechagon weren't out then?
they made a lot of stuff, didn't they? That's kind of impressive. Interesting.
I imagine Shadowlands is fairly big in terms of, there is a thing where obviously size isn't everything, but like the density of those zones is a lot heavier. So Shadowlands is a lot more dense than I think other zones, but they are still pretty big zones. And then obviously Korthia is very big, but a little bit kind of sparse. The Maw is massive, relatively sparse, but they're not actually like that. They're not that sparse.
Yeah.
They're actually like, there is a whole ton of content. It just doesn't really feel like that because you spend your time nuking it at launch and then never going back or doing world quests instead. But there is a lot of stuff like.
Yeah, and it's just funny because whenever I think of some of my fonder memories of those older expansions, it kind of is those like nice big wide open expanses. Which you could say, oh, that's just a way to pad out how technically big the zone is, but not put anything in it. But then you think of something like Breath of the Wild that people love, and the almost negative space in that design is so crucial to the game feeling good.
Yeah,
and that's something that I became a little bit frustrated with in some bits of WoW. So whenever I heard the developers consistently say, like, these zones are big. This zone is so big that, like, not only do they just, increase the view distance just for the sheer hell of it, they seem to be doing that so that whenever you turn a corner, the, like, vista that you see, the camera's actually big enough to show you that vista. And I think that just clues you into the scale of compositions that they're trying to create with these zones.
For sure.
That's something that was exciting to me, especially when we add in something from the interview section, which, to tease you, they maybe will have a lot more world content this time around.
Yep.
And they really should have told us that in the announcement because it would have got people quite excited.
Yeah, which is interesting because they actually have a lot of world content. It just doesn't feel like content because it's like the world is populated with secrets and stuff, not really content that you can go, I'm going to have some content that feels like meaningful stuff. It's like, it's kind of gameplay abstractions in a way, where especially when people engage with it via handy notes, it's like chore picking off as opposed to feeling like content. Which is like, if there was like a bit of story framing or quest framing for it, it'd be so much better. So much better.
There's a few things like, I see my girlfriend playing Guild Wars 2 in the new expansion, or even any of the high-end maps in the previous expansions and Living World seasons for Guild Wars 2. They have basically massive map events. So you do all of the events that spawn into the map, and when people have done those, then like a mini-boss or a boss or something will spawn. They have this amount of interactivity between the different events, which takes them on a level from the events in base 2012 Guild Wars 2 that were, yes, a little bit more static. Yeah. So I would really like to see them push that forward, because then it's not handy notes collection content. Then it's you're out in the world doing shit. Like, if people got into a flow state with fucking gulp frog farms, surely there is something to be said for non-world non-world quest-based stuff. For the zones, I like the look of them, pretty much all of them so far. I'll say that much. I look at these and I think, cool, are they going to put a thing up there that I'll need to be good at dragon riding
ostensibly
to get? In which case, that's actually quite cool. Yeah. That's quite fun.
I'm pretty sure Fiesel said almost literally that,
Yeah, here's the big dragon city.
Yeah.
The cool thing about the dragon city is that it is in the tallest zone in the game. Now, I remember the very start, you could have the Emerald Winds.
Oh,
you could have the toy that would boop you up in the air.
Yep.
The Brolfist, in Legion. And you could use all of these, because you could use the Brolfist while Emerald Winds, or maybe it was just Emerald Winds would keep you going up. I forget what it was, but you could combine them all.
What it was you opened with a Brolfist, you like jumped and Brolfisted, you got a real high opening point, then you hit the glider, the Rock Feather Skyhorn Kite, then the Emerald Winds, and you could make it basically from the entire way from the peak of High Mountain to the, like, I guess in and around the rep turn-in or the rep vendor in Azuna, if not further. And then they were like, fun police have entered, deleted, which is very unfortunate, but that stuff was so cool. That stuff was so much fun.
I'm so sad I cannot find, I did a little video on it.
Aviana's Feather from WoD, because WoD had the kind of the same thing going for it as well. Yeah, that was great.
Sad, I can't find the video. It's a great example of that was really cool. And if you did that at the top of it's like the middle of the broken shore or the broken isles where it's like super high up.
High mountain?
You could just like go from high mountain like way across the map.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Sorry, I was in Google mode trying to find that. I'm stupid.
Yeah,
sorry.
It was one of the biggest, as just some dude said, it was one of the biggest fun detected moments in WoW's history for sure.
Totally.
Just people are having fun traversing. We'll turn that off, and then we'll call it a feature into the expansions time.
See, now they've turned it into fun designed.
Yeah, for sure.
Just the idea of, I mean, a good example, right? One of our guys, Nicky, big man for the battlefield. Yeah. And I can't confirm this, but even based on the Star Citizen videos I've seen of people doing like trick shot flying, they literally get 2 joysticks and do all this crazy shit. But you know, you could see those Battlefield videos or Ace Combat trick flying videos where people have somehow managed to reverse a plane under a bridge. Yep. And you're just like, how the fuck have they done this? Or go super fast and then flip and then go backwards through a train tunnel.
Yeah. It's unreal.
You can do that in a dragon now.
Maybe, but the fantasy of it could be so cool. And I just love that with the zone design. Think about this from a zone designer's perspective. How many cool things can they do to give you just these feelings of mastery? So you got this zone. It's got just some like big open plains feel. Yeah. I absolutely fucking love that. There's this one, the Azure Span. I think it's best designed as Pan Northrend. A little bit, yeah.
It's almost like a Northrend greatest hits. It's funny, I saw somebody said, actually, it's a bit more like High Mountain and Howling Fjord. And I just sort of thought to myself, oh, buddy, you know where those came from? So this is a zone that I'm very happy about.
For sure.
Tuskar, some of my favorite in the game, and here they are. By the way.
As long as they remain as comfy as before.
It's great. I did this, and the tweet just went viral, got like 3,500 likes.
Nice.
People really want the otter mount. I really want the otter mount. It's nice. So, yeah, and it's funny, because this just looks like high-res Northrend, and I'm completely happy with that.
Yeah, that's the thing, especially like if they can get... well, obviously it's hard to say, because Zereth Mortis had a very specific flavor to like the music and stuff. But honestly, if they can get very much the same quality, but over in that flavor that felt Northrend, especially if they have more world content and they have dragon riding, so you can kind of have a lot more fun getting around, then I think we're in for a game that's very, very different than what we've had for the past couple expansions.
Yeah.
Which is a game that is ostensibly no fun allowed in the video game, outside of very specific parameters and very specific end-game design. If this shit's just like, fuck it, this game's now fun to just literally play in.
Felt a bit Algalon sometimes.
Very much, yeah.
The player's gameplay experience has fallen outside of directed parameters. Design parameters, destroy.
Yeah, wipe the slate clean.
Which, I can understand some of the like, oh, this is not how we intend these mechanics, but...
Yeah.
Maybe the signal of that is, oh, you feel like your toys are being abused and players can fly when they shouldn't. Yeah. That's a signal to make Dragonflight.
For sure.
Or Dragon Riding, even.
For sure.
It's a bit, the whole Dragonflight, Dragon Riding kind of cross-name confusion.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the zone stuff.